Hello and welcome back to the Horse Racing Network with me, Izzy Phillips, and I'm joined as always by racing broadcaster and journalist Paul Auster and Jack from Quiff. So, guys, before we get into the racing this weekend at Newbury, what did you make of the DRF that we've just had? Obviously, I was there. We got rained off for one day, but obviously it got rescheduled on the Monday. Are there any standout performers for you or horses that you think can be very likely to go on and win at the Cheltenham Festival, because it's probably one of the most open festivals for betting that we've had for a long time? Paul, I'll come to you first.
Well, I'm sure everybody every week is anxiously waiting to see what I've written on the website of the Horse Racing Network here. And I focused on three horses that I picked out from the DRF. And I think of those three, the most interesting is probably Poneros, who was third in the big hurdle there behind Brighter Days Ahead and Lossiemouth. Now, I thought that was a terrific effort because the horse has been off since Royal Ascot. He was running in really bad ground, and he's just stayed on nicely in the closing stages. I think he'll be a different horse when he goes back to Cheltenham, where he sprung that 100-to-1 surprise in the Triumph last year. So, as long as it's not ideally, if it's good for soft ground, I think Ponyros represents the best value in what is a very open renewal this year of the Champion Hurdle.
I was really disappointed in general with the horses that I was looking forward to seeing. Obviously, Final Demand, Lossiemouth, and Galloping Deschamps didn't show his usual kind of staying power, which is also unusual for him. And you kind of wonder whether age is getting to him a little bit now. Obviously, he didn't manage to make it his fourth Irish Gold Cup win. In terms of who I took out of the race, there was a novice hurdle race that I thought was really strong. I don't think Old Park Stars got a lot to worry about, but it was a good finish between Talk the Talk and Ballyfad, two kind of really good looking horses who showed what was a really good performance in obviously that really testing ground, and it was especially tested on that hurdle course. But I don't know if you guys managed to catch it, but how on earth Talk the Talk actually got up in the photo, I will never know. But just two horses that I think
a mile back as well.
Come from absolutely miles back. And thank goodness for JJ Slevin that he got the horse up. Otherwise, he would have had a right rollicking for that one from the punters. But just a good performance. Don't know if they're going to rattle Old Park Stars' cage too much, but if you've got some testing ground at Cheltenham, that might favour them. That's for sure. What about you, Jack? Any standout performers from the DRF? Any future Cheltenham Festival winners?
I said it was a good one for the bookmakers. Great week for the ladies. So the Q1 bonus might be, I'm not saying insured yet, but it's made a good start. I did like, everyone talks about Galloping Deschamps, but I thought Factor File did it really well, given the fact he's kind of had he's blotted his copybook on his last few runs. He's very disappointed at Kempton, beaten by Gaelic Warrior when, but that quote unquote unlucky horse. But I thought he did it really well. It's probably the best Gold Cup trial we've seen from a winner even. We'll see how he gets on in terms of, say, against the Jukebox Man in a rematch. Did like the way Romeo Coolio jumped. I know he's ended up winning, I think only by a neck in the end from Cargies. I think 2 miles on much better ground should be much within his cup of tea. And it was nice to see Brighter Days Ahead have a day in the sun. She's always been, seeing the backside of Lossiemouth. It's good to see the roles reversed as a one-off. Willie can't have it all his own way, surely. Give Gordon a nice share of the pie now and again.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you say that, but then when he doesn't win, he still wins because he had that victory with Kay Dorothy. But in terms of DRF stars, I think you certainly have to give a gold one to Mark Walsh, who had an absolutely incredible festival. And you've got to wonder whether he's going to be seeing that through to the Cheltenham Festival. One interesting conundrum I think there will be the champion chase. None of us so far have mentioned that the Jumping Wardrobe Margeborough seemed to manage to sort that out all of a sudden and put it all together under Mark Walsh. He just went out in front and jumped beautifully. So you've got to think that if he's able to do that at Cheltenham, then he stands a really good chance. It was a good run, I thought, in behind by Marine Nationale on ground that was less than ideal, that's for sure, and could still absolutely have his say at the Cheltenham Festival. But there was a few grumbles online because obviously Barry Connell had said that everyone beats John Bon and it's just a Mickey Mouse race. And it kind of got me thinking, do I think that Marlborough is a better horse than John Bon? And I'm not sure he is. And you can get around 14-1 at this point on John Bon to win the Champion Chase. So I think that might be one that I hold out hope on the Wednesday anyway. But that is all we have time for Cheltenham chat. We're going to move on to the racing this weekend. A really nice card actually at Newbury. So it is soft ground at the moment on that weather watch, and there's more rain on the way as well. So you do want a horse that will kind of like these testing conditions. And we're going to start with the 10 past 2, which is a grade 2 chase. It is that Denman chase named after the tank. Newbury was his playground. And top of the market, we have Haiti Couleur, after obviously not ending up making an appearance in the Irish Gold Cup due to the weather issues and travel issues. We've got Jack's favourite in the market here, L'Empresse, who didn't actually put in a too bad of a performance at Cheltenham the other week on Trials Day. And then you've also got Leave of Absence and Risk in the Ground. So a very small field. Paul, do you think Haiti Couleurs is going to have it all his own way here? I quite like him as a marathon distance horse. I actually think that this might actually be a little short for him. See, Django Bay's out. What do you make of it?
Well, as you say, it would have been great if Django Bay had, stood his ground here. I think we would have learned a lot more about him and been able to judge the merits of Haiti Couleur and L'Empresse. I don't think this is a race to bet in because, as you hinted, I think there, Izzy, Haiti Couleur might find this as sharp as he wants to go. And how hard a race are they going to give him, really, before he's meant to be having his crack at Cheltenham? I don't know. He's got a few pounds to find on the figures with L'Empresse, who's run 2 really good races this season, particularly when you consider how badly Venetia's horses have been running. She's had no joy at all. It's been a really lean time. And I wouldn't be surprised if L'Empresse were to break the stable run and maybe get the better of Haiti Couleur. It's hard to imagine either of the other two being good enough on the terms of this race. So maybe one to watch. If Haiti Couleur were to put in a big effort and streak away and win this by a big margin, he'll certainly advance in the Gold Cup market. And I think Rebecca Curtis was pretty smart not sending him over to Quagmire in Ireland. He may, in the long term, benefit most from it.
And what about you, Jack? Are you sticking with your old favourite here in L'Empresse, or do you think Haiti Couleur, or maybe even one of the other two that are sort of bigger price?
I think I had heard last time Benicia trained a winner. I think I was looking through my notes from when we filmed 2 weeks ago. She was not from 20, she was on a 20% strike rate, and I just got muddled up in the moment. She's still not a winner in the subsequent 2 weeks. So I do think L'Empresse, I don't say it's the better horse. It seems a bit harsh. I mean, officially,
it's higher rates.
Yeah, it's £5 higher than the weights. It's just, I just worry about that stable form. This should have been her time of the year. Tim struggling is a big concern, and I'd be more using this as a almost like mental preparation to see where they go. I know Haiti Couleur has got the Gold Cup on his agenda. I see more as a Grand National horse personally, rather than 3.25 miles at Cheltenham, especially if the ground's quick. Although again, I'm thinking out loud, a Native River synchronised horses go win the Welsh National and go win the Gold Cup, so it's not out of the realms of possibility. But I mean, if I'm there sat at home watching on Saturday afternoon, which with 2 young kids, it's very unlikely given the boys' preference of being outside in front of a TV. I'd end up chucking a few quid on L'Empresse at 7-4, at least get it in a little Barney Rubble to try and pad it out. But I wouldn't be backing the Curtis horse at 4-7, put it that way, 8-13, not for me.
Wow. speaking of odds on shots, it doesn't get much better in the next race, because after that at 2:45 you have got the Game Spirit at Newbury. That's a 2 mile grade 2, and at the top of the market we have Lulamba. I know one that many people have been looking forward to seeing. Obviously, I mentioned the other week in the DRF preview that I really fancy him for the Arkle. I was hoping for a good performance from Kopek to board so it could push the price out, but that didn't quite go to plan, obviously, because he didn't run. But yeah, Lulamba does run here. You've then got Saint Seagal in the market after that, Liberty Hunter, Master Chewy, Calico, Meet Me by the Sea, an interest in a green and gold there, Ben Paulins and Harry Cobden obviously taking the ride. You've then also got Rookie bringing up the field at 50-1. Jack, I'll come to you first. Lulamba all the way, or is there a chance of something beating him?
Well, is it you and I are kind of opposites in terms of our appetite for a shorting? Again, whether it's because I've worked for bookmakers for 20 years, I always want to try to take them on. So, I mean, this race historically has got a great record for favourites, right? I think Spinter Sacra's won this before. Altior, looking through it, Sol Real was a great little horse. But I just wouldn't be able to bring myself 4-5. And again, I'm sure there'll be some replies in the comments. I'm not convinced about Nico de Bonville, especially riding over fences. I've made a commitment to myself. I'm not backing Nico. Even if I really like the horse, even if he's got brilliant form, I can't back Nico over a fence. I think his bottle's gone a bit after the Constitution Hill. So we say Saga. I'll wait for your weather watch. If there's a rain dance, in my head, the way Liberty Hunter went around Cheltenham on New Year's Day a couple of years ago, bottomless ground, always stuck with me. I think he's a proper 2 miles on as wet as possible. Get him in the slot, get him in the soup. Liberty Hunter for me, he's around the 6-1 mark. I do like Sean Bowen. There's a couple of companies that are going 3 places on the day. What are the odds? First 3, I'll be backing Liberty Hunter. But for me, Lulamba, if you're backing him, just pray Nico's going to go in there. But not for me at 4-5. I'll await your. What about you? Do you fancy him? It was fantastic horse last year when he went Bunchstown.
I think it's really hard not to fancy Lulamba with his performances. I just think he's been something that looks quite special to me. Nicky Henderson is in form here. I don't fancy Saint Seagal. If I was to look elsewhere for anything else, it could just be that I had been having a little look at Meet Me by the Sea, just because the form has come in kind of soft and heavy. Obviously, a big step up in terms of grade, but yeah, just quite like the form in terms of the ground, and it could be quite testing. Could be a nice each way or place possibility. Currently 22-1, but yeah, my heart is with Lulamba. Not just because I think he's a really good horse, but because the Donnellys have had such a difficult season, obviously, with what's happened with State Man and what's happened with Sergino. And I would actually like to see one of their really good horses go in and do the business and just give us that kind of star-spangled performance that I think, we've all been waiting for them. We thought we were going to get them at the DRF. We thought we were going to get them at Trials Day. And we've had, big favourite after big favourite go down. So I'm sure your methods, hopefully, Jack, have won you a few quid over the last few weeks, because the favourites have been massively turned over. But I've followed most of them to this point, so I'm just going to stick here because I do think Lulamba is special. But what about you, Paul? You do like a horse at a bigger price. Anything for Meet Me by the Sea or anything else?
Not sure about Meet Me by the Sea. 12 months ago, Master Chewy beat Liberty Hunter in this race. And the favourite that day was rated much higher than either Lulamba and Saint Seagal. I think it was Matata. He's got the visor on for the first time. And I think it's quite interesting, Master Chewy, that he's dropping back to the 2 miles. I'm just a little bit concerned that having run at 3 miles and run at 2.5 miles, they're just not quite sure what to do with him these days. He's one of those twilight in-between horses. And I think he'll do well to win unless that first-time visor really sets him alight. But I think he's going to run well. They're going to let him go, I think. there's only one horse who's ever beaten Lolamba, is it? And that's Poniros, the horse I mentioned to you for the champion hurdle.
Yeah.
You've got to remember, Lulamba's only had 2 races over fences, a beginner's chase, and then, of course, it was a Grade 1 novice chase. This is taking on more experienced horses. They may go that little bit quicker. This testing ground might not be wholly ideal for Lolamba. I think St. Seagal's the each-way play. If you can get the 3 places especially. It won in very soft ground at Kelso in early December, and then probably wasn't ideally suited by Kempton last time, the way he ran, or maybe just caught a tartar in that thistle ass that continues to improve all the time. So I think he's got every chance, and on the figures, he's only about a pound wrong with Lolamba, and he's more experienced. The other thing is that it's been a very long time since any horse less than 7 years old has won this race. I'm not sure how many younger horses have run in it, to be honest. So it would be a massive performance, I think, from Lolamba if he were to win this and win it well. So I think he's worth taking on, and I'll be with Saint Seagal.
Just on that as well.
Interesting.
2 horses
We're
under
opposed
7
there.
2 horses under 7 have won this race in the last 20 years, and they've been bona fide superstars, masterminders and Sprinter Sacra. So he's got to be in good company to be winning at that age, as Paul mentions.
That's a special role of honour there, really, isn't it? It's masterminded and Sprinter Sacra, probably 2 of the best champion chase performances we've ever seen in terms of, God, was it Sprinter Sacra's in 2013? The one where he completely dominated. Obviously, we all love the 2016 comeback, but that 2013 dominance was really special. And I think, to be honest with you, Masterminded is probably one of the best champion chase winners I've ever seen. So, yeah, God, Lolamba absolutely would be.
That was a good stat that he threw us.
It was a lovely stat.
He's going to become the stato of the horse racing network, I think.
What's it on?
Well, that brings us on to our next race, where there is a tasty almost £90,000 to the winner, and that is the 320 is the William Hill Hurdle. We've got a nice Premier handicap here. It's run over 2 miles, and the top horse in the betting is quite appropriately named given the weather. He's called Let It Rain for the Skeltons. You've got Ensemble La Vie near the top of the market. All in You. You've got Lanesborough for Ben Paulin and Brendan Powell. You've got the last time out Newbury winner in Tutti Quanti for Harry Cobden and Paul Nichols, who should have no issues with the ground. You've then got Hot Fuss, The Hardest Geezer, Dancer Glance, Mildam, and I'll say bigger the rest, really, because we've got 16 runners in the field here. Nice each way chances as well. Paul, we know you love a bigger price. Have you got one for us here?
Yes.
Yes.
Would you like me to tell you what it is?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, first of all, what I'd say about this race is that this is one of those races I love. Going back many years, this has been one of the big betting races of the year, the Tote Trophy. They used to lay them out for this. There were some massive winners and some great big prize winners as well back in the day. I think this is a really good renewal. I'm quite interested in All In You for Warren Greatrex. I think this is a horse that we haven't really seen that much of him. He's had 3 runs in Britain since he came from France, and he's improved on each start just about. But I just wonder if he's got enough experience for a race such as this. There are quite a few, like Tutti Quanti you've mentioned. Hot Fuss has been in great form, just looking down the list. But the one that I think is really interesting here is the 9-horse Bubble Doobie for Stuart Edmonds, because this is a horse that goes really well on testing ground. He won a handicap hurdle at Chepstow way back in February 24 on heavy ground. Then he was off for an age, absolutely disappeared. Came back after 20 months off, and he won a nice handicap at Aintree in November. Now, the horse that he wiped the floor with, beating 11 lengths, giving it a stone, was Hara. And Hara, I don't know if you saw at Carlisle earlier in the week, he absolutely sluiced up. Won very, very easily to frank that form. Now, Bubble Derby's gone up £9. This is a much tougher race than the Aintree race. But we know, however soft it is, he will handle it. And he's still pretty much unexposed. So I just wonder if he might run rather well at a big price. He's about 25 to 1 best shout, I think, at the moment for, what is it, 5 places. So that will be my each way shout out. I think Bubble Doobie, but the one I would cite as a potential dangerous side of the favourite as well, given the Skelton factor, is All in You.
Interesting. Well, that's why we turned up for this. We've got Booble Doobie now. Our card is marked. I like his name as well.
It's a great name.
Got the cutest name. Does the
Come on.
Stuart Edmonds yard form put you off at all? No winners in the last 13 runners in 14 days. I know that's not a massive amount of runners, but no.
It wouldn't put me off, It might be that he's just been running some of the lesser lights of the yard, So I've got a feeling this horse, they won with it at Aintree after such a long absence, and I've got a feeling that they might have saved it for this race.
Yeah, it does seem to
Good
be
training.
something quite special. That performance to win by 11 lengths is quite tasty, and like you say, for the second to then come out and frank that form, certainly worth taking note. And I'm sure that people watching this podcast, we're about to see the price collapse on Booble Doobie after Paul's tip there. Jack, are you interested in Booble Doobie with Paul, or do you fancy someone else here?
I mean, I seldom disagree with the grey man, but I just think there's a lot of muddling form lines here, and if you like Let It Rain around the 5-2 mark, and you like All in You, then surely you've got to fancy Dance and Glance at like treble the price. Dance and Glance beat the pair of them in a War Mascot handicap in December, I think, on the Long Walk Hurdle card. He did that for a mark of 116. All in You reversed the form with him last time at Sandown, and he just seemed to get tired up the hill. And I think he's coming back on to £5 better terms. For that, he's going in right at the foot of the weights under Rex Sting, or the Honeyball. Can't speak today. The Honeyball Yard are in good form. They've got 4 winners from their last 12 runners in the last fortnight. And again, I think the return to a flatter track like Newbury when I was going through the form, I couldn't get in my head why All in You was 5-1, Let Him Rain was 5-2, and Dance and Glass was 16-1. I don't know what your thoughts are, Paul, but I don't think he should be that big.
True. I think you're right about that. I just wonder, whether racing the other way around is really good form in the last few outings. Is coming on right-handed tracks. I'll be interested to see if he proves as effective, going the other way around. But it's a fair shout that he is overpriced. Certainly in relation to All in You.
He finished. He won at Taunton as well, another track going right-handed. But when just looking through the price of that, when you're trying to get some kind of mental tissue, that sounds like a ska band. Mental tissue of the. I'd have had him more 8-9-1, and the others perhaps a little bit bigger. But fingers crossed that the Ascot form line successes in one sense on Saturday.
Come on, Izzy, give us the winner.
I am going to stick with top weight Tutti Quanti. He's got a fantastic record at Newbury. Paul Nicholls is on nearly a 40% strike rate. He's French bred. He loves that soft ground. And I think that he can probably continue his line of form at Newbury in this. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with the top weight. But he's quite a nice price, obviously, because he's got a lump a lot of weight around. But he has put in some classy performances. So he's probably, he definitely does deserve to be at the top of the weights there. And I just think class can always carry weight. So I'm just kind of hope that he can, and he can continue kind of Nicholls' good run of things at the minute, because it's quite nice to see. It's nice to see him having some winners. Obviously, he was not long ago our champion trainer. So good to see his yard kind of doing well. Interesting runner as well for the Tristan Davis team. But he has been running in like class 4s. So I guess it all just depends on whether you can kind of rise to the occasion or not. But I think that Tutti Quanti will. I can't see him being too far away. And perhaps a nice each way price as well, if he wasn't quite to get there. But that is all we have time for at Newbury. Do we have any other business anywhere else, guys? I know sometimes you pull one from the fire, we end up with an all-weather shout or something like that. Anything this week?
Not from me, I'm afraid. I've had a look through, and I've got to say, with the exception of Newbury, there's one nice novice chase, isn't there, over at Warwick, the Kingmaker. But I've got to say, it's not great racing this Saturday. February's always a
No.
quiet month before but
Coming up to today, there were a lot of double entries across kind of the Kingmaker and the Game Spirit, wasn't there? So it's obviously desolated that race at Warwick, and the Game Spirit at Newbury seems to look a little better. But anything from you, Jack?
Yeah, Paul and I were talking of a horse called Fantasy World. It's changed hands for a few $100,000 by the good folk, but Lady Bamford's estate. Nicky Henderson has won the Open at Newbury with some really, really nice horses in the past few years. Chantry House of JP's, I think he won here, then ran in. Did he finish third in the Supreme? Could be wrong.
Yeah, he had like a comeback performance, didn't he, as well?
Belvano won this. He ended up being a really nice 2-mile chaser. And yeah, in my head again, Nicky would generally run a really nice horse in this race. Alpha Off won this before winning the Supreme in 2011. And just going through the fact that Fantasy World is scheduled to make his hurdles debut, only a 4-year-old rated 100 on the flat, who's a listed winner of a mile 6. Just keep an eye on him. I don't know whether he's good enough to win on debut, but he's getting lumps of weight from the likely favourite Sober Glory. That he's getting the best part of £22. So yeah, just interesting to see how he goes on debut. Fantasy World might be a horse to keep on the right side of.
Nice. So we're sticking with that Newbury card, having a little look at the runner in the first for Nicky Henderson. Well, hopefully, we've found you a good few winners at Newbury this weekend. And thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to join us again soon. We'll be taking a look ahead to that Betfair Ascot Chase.